I'm 5 minutes late, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. I hope you're still here and you're excited to be here because we're about to finish the wolverine piece. Just put on some gloves. We're gonna deck solder everything together. So my favorite soldering iron is getting nice and hot. And while the soldering iron is heating, we're gonna apply some flux to all the joints of the glass pieces, so we can well fix them together before we're actually gonna solder all the nice and smooth lines. This is the live stream part 4. I hope that in this episode we're gonna finalize the soldering bit, and we can really start to show and share results. So let's see. I made a few adjustments. One of them is we now have a light on this side as well, so it should probably be better now. Switching some angles here. This one will keep close. I'll adjust this one I don't know, once in a while or just as we go. Then we have our top view. That's a bit less than normally, but that's because we're really centered close around the wolverine. And then we'll be back to me, but I think we will use this shot most of the time while soldering. But let's for now use the total view. And the angle is a little bit downward. Also again, because then we can zoom in on soldering this piece together. So, few parts that are risky. Let me show you. So over here, I did my best to create a halo in one piece. So that's well, maybe a bit silly or too enthusiastic. So this might crack because of the heat. So that's a risky part. And the same might happen for the blades or the pieces between the blades, which are very small. So I hope it will stay in good shape, but we're gonna find out. Also, sorry guys, I really had a rough night. Also, there are some gaps here and there, and when I was sanding down the shaping all these parts, I didn't think there would be any because it was a nice fit. But I guess that's the case with really nice fits, is that once the copper foil is around it, it's like over here, then yeah, it doesn't really fit then after all, or not as well as you intended it to. So in hindsight, I think a few bits I made a little bit too big, and now I have a few gaps. They are within the limits of what I would say is just fine, but I am aware of it, and which is why I'm sharing it with you, because you can probably see it as well, and maybe you have this with your own pieces as well. They don't always fit as nice as these pieces here. Sometimes you have a little gap. But then the soldering line would just be a little bit bigger. So, I'm applying flux paste. I don't know if you are familiar with the paste, because flux can also be very, can be a liquid as well. I like to use the paste. Downside is you can sometimes pick up a piece, which you don't always want. But I like it very much. It really helps me give very smooth soldering lines, and the flux stays on the glass, like it's a bit greasy. It's a bit. It only gets a liquid, turns into liquid when it gets really hot, just like the solder. So it's just sitting here, and it doesn't. When it's heated, it doesn't give all those. Well, with the liquid, sometimes it's. I don't know. It has a splash or a spray when it gets hot. This is. Yeah, this is the one. This is how it looks, and I can show you here. So it's really pasty, and I really like it a lot. And if you have done my class on Class 101 this year, last year, or the year before, then you have used this as well. I'm not sure if it's already in the Stainless Geek shop, but in my local store here in Holland I sell it too. And every once in a while when someone enters and has questions about Tiffany stained glass, then I always give them a sample. Just for them to check out if this is something they like. And so far, many people like it. So maybe you do too. If you are already used to soldering, well, please let me know. You can leave a comment here in the live session. Once I've done all the flux here and there, then I'll go and check it out, because I opened up my laptop also to be able to log in on the live video so I can be in touch with you. But if you don't mind, I'll just finish this bit first. I'm wearing gloves because of the flux, and I want to be able to get my coffee in a few minutes and of course drink it, use my laptop, and I don't want this this flux on my keyboard or on my skin for that matter. Because it is I don't know, I think it has some acid in it. It is, well, we can get lost in translation here, but it's not really friendly, as you can see by this icon. Translated from German, it says danger, soldering grease. So we should always respect that, I suppose. Okay, so I've added some flux paste here and there. Time for me to get my laptop a little bit closer so I can see your remarks. I'm wondering if you're using what you are using when you're soldering, and also it's iron. That's also a nice topic. So let me for now check the YouTube and see if I can get into the live video as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there we are. Great. So, welcome, and also if you're watching this later on, I'm not gonna. I had a stool here, but let's not use it. Okay, so now the angle is all messed up. Sorry. Let's get down to soldering. So, this is the soldering iron I'm using right now, and later on we're gonna switch. So we're gonna use two irons. So you're gonna get two different experiences. To use this iron, I'm using this tool. Let me show you, which enables me to dial it down, because the soldering iron I'm using is really powerful, which is great, but it was just a bit too much. And by dialing it down, I can use the same iron for Tiffany, but also for stained glass with lead, which is wonderful, and which is new to me, because I still have multiple soldering irons for different aspects of stained glass. With this tool I just showed you, it's not really necessary to have that, so I'm really pleased with it. Alright, there you go. So I'm just applying little drops here and there. I don't mind soldering everything perfectly at all. I'm just making sure that every piece is connected to the surrounding pieces, and later on I'll get back to all these pieces and make them and solder them as nice as I can. But for now we're just applying a drip here and a drop there, so the pieces won't move. And once this is done, I'll get my coffee real quick, and then we will continue with soldering the nice lines. Alright. This is the moment where I wish I had turned on the radio. This is really nice, a nice and easygoing moment, but also a moment of focus. I don't know how you experience this part of the process, but for me this is like the finish is in sight, so it's always a bit there's some pressure here, because I don't want to damage all the work I've already done, but there's also some excitement because I'm almost there, like this is the final few minutes of our trip. And I can show you and show myself, we can finally see how all these pieces come together. And I guess that's the most magical part of every stained glass piece I've made, is when you for the first time lift it and you can see the glass coming through, of the light coming through the glass. That's just, and then you can see for the first time what you actually made, and that's really something special. Alright, we're nearly there. A few more parts to go. Normally I solder here behind me, and I have a fume extractor which is installed in that corner, so we're not using it now. Instead I opened up my door so the fumes can get out. This is not the ideal situation. If you can afford an extractor or solder outdoors, then that's really for your health and for your safety, that's really would be a really good thing to do. But to be able to shoot this video, I figured the workbench behind me is a little bit too small and too limited to actually record from, which is why I went for the less ideal solution, extracting fumes wise. Okay, so the final bit gets a bit hot. In that case, I'm just always keeping my little bit close, and I'll just solder it, attach it to a new part, and then you can also use the small parts, small bits. Okay, here we need to be very careful, because this might crack due to the heat we're applying. I think we're alright. Okay. Oh, there's my. I'm not sure if I applied flux here. And over here. Okay, so I think now we've tacked soldered the piece together. This is my cue to quickly get some coffee. I'll be right back. Meanwhile, let me show you this angle, and I'm gonna redirect the camera a little bit. Oh, I can maybe better show you this, else the image will be a little bit it's a bit wobbly else to see. What I'm searching for in this angle is that I can show this to you well when we're from the angle from his feet. Yeah, something like this. Alright, so this is the part where we will start soldering. Alright, perfect. And I'll see you in 20 seconds when I brought myself a cup of coffee. Okay, we're back. So, cheers to this piece. I'm really thankful I got to make this. It's the first of a series we're gonna make together with Oceanside and Tile. That's just amazing. They're really cool people, and they have wonderful glass. I'm sure you are familiar with it and with them. You might have met them already, because now COVID is finally under control. I'm not sure, but we can travel again, and there are shows, and so you can have met them at some glass shows. Like last time I was in Germany, but there's one this week, I suppose. With the American Glass Association. They're just great, and we're teaming up for a show in September, and we're going to showcase their glass. So this is the first of a series of heroes we're going to recreate in stained glass using all Oceanside glass. And once this is finished, I will make a little montage of all the steps we took in the production of this piece, and I will also include the glass being used, so you can check that out. And if you think, oh, that yellow, that's such a nice color, which glass was it? Which one did they use? Well, I'll make sure you get those answers right there. I can maybe also attach it to the live videos I've already recorded and listed. So if you're watching this part 4 and you want to know more about how the pieces were made, or maybe you want to rewatch the first few episodes, you can. And we'll be sharing this on our socials as well, mine and also Oceanside's. And this is kind of the benchmark for the other heroes we're gonna create. So we're zooming in on this one first to gain some experiences, to also to see how much time it costs to create one, how many times we're gonna shoot videos or do live streams. Because of the time difference, we're still searching for the best moment to be live. So if you have suggestions about that, please leave it in the comments as well. Right now it's 6 in the morning for me, which is quite early, which is why I really need this. So if you have suggestions or remarks, please leave them in the comments, and that way we can learn, because this is something I want to host at least once a week, and it would be a wonderful moment in my week, this half an hour or 1 hour, to be able to be in touch with you and to discuss everything concerning the projects we're building or the projects you are building, to talk glass. Like, yeah, I think that's the most fun about this, about doing these live streams. And being live does has an advantage. We can talk things through. You don't have to wait for a reply. At the same time, it's also a great way to record the things I'm doing, so you can rewatch them later as well. Which, well, kind of does the same, because there is the comment section on YouTube in which you can just post your question and I'll get back to you as well. So let me have a little sip of coffee and then we'll continue with the soldering. Okay, that's nice. So we have a little issue with the light here, right? So there is this, yeah, I don't know, we can see it bounces on the glass. So that's a shame, but that's something that needs to be addressed in the next video. So for now, we're gonna really start soldering the piece, starting with this line here, and then we'll get to the shoes. Because I will use lead cane for the outer border, I don't really need to solder all the way up to there, to the edge, because that's where the lead cane will be. So we keep ourselves safe for, I don't know, 3 millimeters from that area. Then I'm sure that the border will go around nicely and I don't have to deal with that, with the solder being too far to the edge. So also right now I don't really think about creating the perfect lines, because I know that when I reheat it, that's the moment where I can still make adjustments. So I'm just filling those lines, and I gotta say, this iron is great, but there's one downside which I'm starting to experience now, which is that this soldering tip here, it kind of corrodes. So right now I feel that this shape isn't flattened anymore, so it starts corroding, and the risk with that is that you can hurt your copper foil, which will be very visible, of course, in the soldering line. So that's something I have to pay attention for now. If this gets worse, then we'll swap to the other a little bit sooner than I expected. Because we don't want to create a video that's too long, we're just going to solder this top side. So if you're new to stained glass, you always, with Tiffany, you always solder both sides, with stained glass, with lead as well. So, but that's not what I'm going to show you. I'm just going to show you the front, soldering the front of this piece, so we can lift it and we can get a good idea of the piece that we're making. And then in the final montage of the process, I will make sure to show you also the final cleaned version. But for now we're just focusing on these soldering lines. So if you have issues with soldering or questions about soldering, well, this is the video in which it would be perfect to ask them. Perfect place, perfect spot. I have a video on my YouTube about soldering tips and tricks, which I made, I don't know, like a year ago. I know I can improve upon it, and the best way for me to improve upon it is to know what you want to know about soldering. So feel free to check out that video if you have some questions. Same goes for leaving a comment about soldering or flux, or I don't know, the tools we're using, because the more comments and questions I get, the better I can adjust my videos to it and, well, kind of provide what you're asking. So this is why I like to solder with a stool next to me. You can see from this angle I'm starting to hover above my piece, and that's going to be, when I get over there, that's going to be hurting my back. So I have a stool from, it's called Varier, or it's called the Varier Move, which is a stool that has a rounded surface on which it stands, so it will always try to balance you, so you keep on moving, and that's just perfect to sit on and be sure you don't have any, you don't get any back issues. So, time for me to get on that stool. Alright. Before I hover over this piece too far and too long. So, as you can see, there's some smoke. There's some smoke action, some visual effects. That's because the soldering iron is really nice and hot. This is good news for us, because that will make sure that we're making some very smooth soldering lines. So at the end, use black patina to darken these lines. Many creators do. I'm a big fan of using black patina because it kind of enhances the contrast in your piece. Oh, I think I forgot to apply some flux here. When the lines are great, that's just great. But when you can make them black, that's just a little bit, I don't know, I think the colors stand out better. Which is why I kind of use it for every piece I'm making. And especially with me painting on the glass, also with black, that will go together better when the soldering lines are black as well. And I've painted them because I really want to approach the comic look and feel. So I painted like I would use like a marker or a pen. Because we really want to go back to that comic style from Wolverine. Regarding Wolverine, he's one of my all-time favorites. The reason why well, maybe a few times a year rewatch an X-Men movie, or maybe all of them. That depends on the amount of time I'm getting. Or in this case, I watched 2 of the latest films while copper foiling this piece. So, do you have a favorite hero, or which characters do you love best from the X-Men series? Because there's so many cool mutants and heroes in that regard. Please let me know. I think it's a really nice topic to talk about. Also because we're gonna create 12 heroes. So if you have suggestions or requests, same as for the soldering, this is the time, this is the moment in which you can leave a comment about it, so we can so I can know about it and maybe do something about it. Alright, so that's the glove part. As you can see, sometimes I'm revisiting a part I already soldered. Right here I'm bothered with the amount of solder in the corner. So I'm gonna train my soldering iron to hopefully pick up a bit from it. Without damaging the glass or the foil. So there we go. Continuing to his big arm, which I made in one piece and then painted the details on. That's quite new to me, to work with pieces that big, and to not use the Tiffany technique to cut it up in all kinds of pieces, addressing all the muscles we see. But for this piece it was just a great thing to do. Also because the glass already has some nice texture, the oceanside glass, and because I was already painting all details in, I figured I can do the same with this arm. And well, we still yet have to see how it looks when the light comes through, but so far I'm really pleased with the result. And that's something I was hoping for doing this project as well, is that it would challenge me into doing new things as well. Same goes for the background. I don't often use this opaque glass. I find it hard to work with, and it has so much texture. Sometimes I'm afraid it will be a bit overwhelming or overbearing. So I don't tend to use it that often, but for this series I want to do this. I want to make more use of that kind of glass, so I can learn as well and change my view about it a bit, and see how it can be used for backgrounds, or in this case an arm as well. Okay, so time to switch soldering irons. I'm gonna plug in the other one so it can heat, build up heat, and then we're gonna continue with the weather. We're halfway, so this soldering iron is the one we're gonna use for the second part. What I like most about this Dutch soldering iron, the IFA iron, is it builds up great heat, but the balance is also so wonderful. Over here, this tiny soldering head over here shapes all. This is just one entire piece, all the way up to there, which means that there's a large chunk of iron being heated, which gives it a very great constance. So it doesn't cool. It keeps being on point. It keeps being at the same temperature as it should be. So that makes the soldering go quicker, smoother. It's just great. But the downside, like I said, the tip corrodes a bit quick on me, and maybe that's because of the settings, because I was not dialing it down and using it full speed, full force. So it might have been too much. So I'm ordering a new tip so I can check if I get a different result using the tool I just showed you before. So that's some piece of information I can give you later on. I really hope that it's the case. I really hope that the next tip will last longer because I'm using it in a better way. But yeah, the balance is just perfect also for soldering, because it always comes down straight. It's just for your arm it can become a bit heavy, but in general it's just perfect. And I like the wooden handle. It's a bit silly maybe, but I don't know. It really gives this more of an old-fashioned tool vibe instead of the red plastic handlebar from Weather. That's also a little bit appealing. I guess that's why I'm called Stained Glass Geek as well. I'm quite geeky about tools as well. Not only the games. I'm very curious about this shoulder part. I did some painting on it as well. I'm very curious to find out how that looks. Same goes for his visor. That's all dark blue from Oceanside. The what's it called? The clear or the transparent? Yeah, the transparent. Smooth. So it's the SF, the smooth fusible. And same goes for the yellow. I like it. It has very little texture, so all the attention goes to the color. It's very bright, so it lets the light through in a very nice way. But of course, for this wolverine. This visor was almost black, so I went for the darkest blue oceanside as the wolverine in this series. And then I added some lines and some paint to it to darken it even more. So I'm really curious to find out if that went well. I think it did. And the yellow is just, there's no yellow like this oceanside yellow. I think it's the 161 SF, I'm not sure. So correct me if I'm wrong. But it's the first glass number I had to learn because I wanted, I quite use it often, so I kept asking you about it at the glass store. Always the same kind of glass. Yep, perfect. So, in comparison, these are the soldering irons, and we're gonna continue with this one. This is a Weller, it's 100 watt. It's a great tool as well, definitely. So we're gonna continue part 2 with that soldering iron. It's lighter built, so that's gentle for the arm. And I don't know how they make these tips, but I have this tip for years. It just keeps and keeps. And that's, I gotta say, that's just wonderful. There's a nice amount of heat. And this is my basic everyday soldering iron. And for larger pieces I like to work with 2 soldering irons because these ones fluctuate a little bit more in terms of temperature. So sometimes you really feel like you're being put on hold. But because of the head is a bit wider, it's the perfect soldering iron as well to smoothen out some soldering lines. So there you go, I have one that's really powerful to get everything going, and then I have one that's with a very nice and smooth tip, which is a little less powerful, which is perfect for smoothing everything out. Right. I guess we're down to our third solder rod or string. I used to get these in coils, but somehow I ended up using them in strips. It makes it all the easier to measure how much you need it. And also because I'm a reseller for stained glass supplies, it's easier for me also to sell people quantities of, I don't know, 100 grams instead of only in kilos. And also for my stained glass kit, in which there is just enough solder to create your first 3 pieces. I guess that's how it started. Yeah. So that's a volume of, I don't know, 100 grams or something. And that's a bit hard to get from a spool of a kilo or 500 grams. So I started using these rods, and well, never changed. Back again. Alright, so we're almost there. I'm getting more and more excited because I'm about to lift it. Then we can see how the colors work. And what I'm gonna do is I guess I'm gonna flip it to the side. Then I'm gonna lift it and flip it so it's standing. Turn it a bit. And then I'm gonna check which camera is best to show. I think the front camera and I'll position it in a way so you can see it well. So we're nearing the end of this video, and I'll be sure to shoot more footage about finalizing the piece, so we can make a nice end production video that shows the entire process, because after this side we're gonna solder the other side, which is more of the same, which is why I thought just one soldering side to talk about soldering, to see if people are online asking questions, and so far not so much, which might be because of the settings I've been using, because I made a video previously which was a private session, I think, for Patreon members. So I'm still a bit, let's say I'm still learning how to do this properly, including time. So again, if you suggestions about when would be the perfect time to check in and have a look. Maybe it's not your Sunday evening or my Monday morning. I'm very keen to know which moments are better suited, because obviously we're doing this session to host people and to get in touch and talk about anything stained glass. Alright, second hand. These were troublesome to create. These bits were a little bit, oh, I'm getting out of view. These bits were a little bit small, so I ended up making some of them twice, because yeah, they kept breaking on me. Alright. I have to pay attention not to bump into the camera. Oh well. I really like the system, by the way. It's perfect for switching and swapping views. So let me just reposition this camera. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Done. Yeah, I hesitated quite a time before I purchased the Mevo system, the 3-camera system, but I'm ever so pleased that I did. They're not really cheap, mainly because you need 3 cameras, obviously, and they sell the tripods along with them as well, the stands, and I bought 2 and not 3 because I'm using one for top view, which is a different stand I already had. But yeah, it's a great system, and one thing is that the audio is not that well. It's there. I know you can hear me, but I already bought a set which I can attach to the Mevo system with a little mic that I can wear. So in the future the audio will be a bit better. But what I didn't understand was that the product I bought will ship or be delivered somewhere in July, so I didn't pay attention to that detail, so I'm sorry. But let's say in a few weeks that will be taken care of. In the meanwhile, I got this light, so from I think it's Elgato. Yeah, the new light Air, which is just a perfect light. I know a lot of streamers use it, which is why I was interested, because it has some nice features. So you can, with an app, you can change the color of the light or intensity. And and it already this light version already has a nice stand. So I figured if this works, it might be the perfect tool for the workshop as well, because I can use this now while streaming and shooting a video. But of course I can also use it when it's winter and it gets a bit darker and I need some light, just because I need to have a clear vision while soldering. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how this light is working out for me, and I think it will help me make better content as well, both online as offline. Alright, there you go. And it's a nice object to see as well. They really did a good job on its design. That's also important. Alright, here we go. This is the final bit. So, oh, sorry. No. Hold on. I forgot to solder his front foot. So, let me readjust this angle, so we can have a good view on the final part of soldering Wolverine. There we go. I even forgot to apply flux to it, sorry. Oh well. Yep, there we go. Great. See, this can be a bit smoother. Again, I'm not going to the end of this bit here, because there will be some LED cam around it, which I can show you still in this video. That would be nice. Alright, done. So, for now, we're gonna get rid of all these nails. Just put them to the side, I'll clean them up later. And because we're making more of these, I'm sure I'll make a mold or something, so I can be sure that they all have the same shape. I use some screws here, so that's something we're gonna leave. And this is the moment where we're gonna lift it and finally see how it looks. I'll show you too, hold on. Yeah, this is something really nice. Alright. Ah, cool. There we go. Yeah, that's really nice. I don't think, yeah, I'm standing behind it, so yeah, that's better. Really cool. So we still need to solder the other side, and we're gonna add some LED cam to it. So I'm just gonna hold it here and have a look myself, and then, yeah, that's really cool. I don't know if this shows. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I like it. Very nice. Very nice. Alright, so I'll be putting it back, and because it's a bit, well, it needs to be soldered on the other side, so it's not that strong yet. Let me get the LED cam. this is where the struggle gets real. Okay, so this is the LED cam, and let me switch the camera. And this is a C4 profile, so it's rounded, and this gives a nice finish to a piece. And I like to attach it after soldering one side, because then the other surface is still flat, and I know I can get it nice rounded in a nice way. Just have to pay attention not to damage the whole piece. Somehow here it has some trouble. Alright, there we go. Great. Okay, and this we're gonna attach to the soldering parts here, and then all the way around it. And this is the knife I use to cut it. It's really small. I used to work with a lot of different LED knives. Let me show you. So I have these as well. Maybe you are familiar with this. These are LED knives, and I started with the small one, which was the better affordable one. Then I bought this one, and I used this one for I think 5 years. Not per se this one, but this series. Used to hammer all those nails in with. Then I came to understand that there was a Don Carlos series, also from Bol, which had a better blade, so I had to try it for obvious reasons. And in the end, ultimately, I found out that this knife, which is used to get rid of paint, is actually the best in cutting the LED cam. Because the blade is so thin, it has a far better experience in cutting the LED cam. So that's a surprise. After purchasing, I don't know, for a few hundreds of euros on LED knives, I end up with this. So if you can learn from it, try it before you buy all the other stained glass tools, which are great, but maybe not as great as just a regular knife for getting rid of paint. Okay, so this is how the LED cam goes around the piece, also here underneath. I'll just align these two, and then I'll attach it to the piece, and that's where we end this video. So there still are a few things we can address in the final montage of creating Wolverine. Because lead has a burns away quicker, it's always advised to work very carefully with the hot soldering irons, or with this tool I showed you, or dial it down to a safer temperature. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm getting rid of this camera view here. Thank you for watching. Super excited, we're close to finishing this piece. please see me in the next live stream. Possibly again next week, or else maybe on another day. We're gonna evaluate that after this piece is made. And thank you for checking in or for watching this later on. I'll be back within maybe a day or two with a full montage on also this piece, and then I can show you how it's finished. For now, take care, have a great Sunday evening or Monday morning, and see you next time. Bye bye.